an option. It's not really really native.
It used to be fine. Mine is irrelevant.
It's called like Sherpa or something like that.
Right.
It's like Nepalese and Indian food.
Really, so it's fusion.
They're close geographically, but yeah, so they have like mummies and things like that that are those good. And then after that we went Friday night, we have that.
Wait, where's yours from?
One drop is cool.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Yeah, the one for,
Yeah.
hydraulic.
Yeah.
So,
It is good.
Yeah.
I do.
It's my favorite thing. I mean, I like, if we're getting just the basics, there are plenty of fine
Something like that. Or not, east here.
Okay.
Each of those segments, 70% trade. So getting 70% car, 5%.
Russian. Okay. Interesting.
I also really like the salad.
Yeah, right.
Well, and I have unique things to it, like broccoli, which makes it tolerable.
I've considered getting
So,
cards for Five Days for the ones that are specific to that. But they kind of did that without, they did Five Days like literally. They didn't have any cards in it.
There will
Yeah.
be cards that I think are.
Just have broccoli or cream.
Just brought it.
For the crap, they have like little mini booster chunks of cards in it.
Yes.
And one of those was like a 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah.
No, I used to,
Yeah, right.
what was it called? Used to go to the other places to go to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Good, good to see you.
But I kind of wondered, like, doing an evening event, who are we gonna see?
I haven't,
We haven't been able to see it,
I
right?
haven't gone to a meetup in forever.
Yeah, it's great, that's weird.
Yeah. Glad you're giving a talk.
I'm glad Corey is organized. This is very incredible.
It all works together well, so we can figure
Yes.
that out. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Good.
How are you doing? We're gonna get started in about 5 minutes. If you guys feel like you can see from back here, that's fine. Otherwise, I'd recommend migrating forward. Take it easy with you. Tweeters.
Hi, Veronica. Nice to meet you. I think we've met.
Last time I remember all facing this direction.
Okay. Yeah.
Woman talking about Astro but originally got me like connected to devICT was the first time that I came to be one of these events, and I don't know who it was, but someone was talking about Rust.
It must have been Seth. I think Seth did that pretty much like Rust. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That was like when I was a little, all I knew was C++, like a little C++ and Python. Just like a little programming thing. I'm gonna see what this is about. I see Rust and like
Those are great.
people talking about it, and I'm just like, this is my type of stuff right here. really drawn to the elitism of Rust. That was what. Yeah, definitely.
You want me to change the
Oh, I
display?
just was wondering if do I need to scoot over? so that
That's a
you
good
can get
question.
the screen?
Let me hide this and start. That looks okay. Well, maybe a little
Oh, I
bit.
could turn.
Yeah, that would be
90.
fine. That would be good.
Less calming.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think, well, maybe not, because we want to look at your face. So maybe,
Oh, okay. So if I need
maybe, yeah, just, yeah. Right about there, that's perfect. Yeah. That's good right there.
For sure.
Yeah. Do you have space for your mouse over there? Yes, room for your mouse? Okay.
You have to eat some.
Yeah, that's perfect.
There's also like
Yeah.
all the fruit, cheese, all fresh frozen.
continuing with this plan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny. Right back to the
The stage probably is we actually.
He came in like immediately after. Sorry, I was gonna text you, but I'm like the day when I missed you. Last Thursday. Yeah, last Thursday. But I didn't know like if you were still in the conference room. I don't actually know these things or not. Like, I just wrote this to you. Anyway, my dad came in immediately. Kelly's the first.
No way.
Yeah. Like, he's the exact person, like,
Okay, we're good to go here. I guess I can get up there. It's like, should I actually be in the screen? Go onto your cable here. Try not to mess up your stuff. All right. Good evening, everyone. What, can you hear me in the back? No? Louder? Like that?
Speak twice as loud as you think you need to.
All right. Well, yeah, I think I need to. My voice is not that loud, and I'm super monotone also. So if you can't hear me, that's just, you're gonna have to get closer, like come up here. So thank you so much for coming this evening. This is our first devICT Tech Talk for 2026. My name is Corey DaCosta. I'm helping facilitate. I'm a member of devICT. So if you're unfamiliar, devICT is Wichita's developer community that helps educate and connect hobbyists and professionals across the spectrum. So we really appreciate you showing up. I'll keep it short. I will mention if you go past the pizza and to the front desk there, right before there's a hallway to your left, directly to the right, there's the bathrooms. So if you need to, feel free anytime to go over there. The door will most likely be locked in the front. So if you need to go out to your car, we'll try to have someone over there so you can get back inside. But otherwise, you might have to like knock or something.
there's a doorbell.
There's a doorbell, so ring the doorbell. There you go. So I'm super excited. We're gonna start with Tom this evening.
He's going to talk to us a little bit about 3D printing and CAD software. So I'll pass it over to him now. Thanks again.
Hi. So, I'm Tom McGuire. I'm a volunteer here at Groover. I have a long history of working with innovators, not necessarily always contributing, but I like working with people that are developing ideas and making new things and stuff. So I've learned a lot and also forgotten a lot over the many years. So I'm going to try to entertain you with some of the things that I have learned. And the theme of this is, say for instance, you're shopping with your significant other, and like my wife would say, hey, look, honey, I found this really neat little toothbrush holder at Target for only $30. And I go, honey, we don't need to buy this stuff anymore. We have a 3D printer. And then, she rolls her eyes and looks at me like, yeah. But that's where the work begins, and you may want to look for
Hey, Tom, real quick, can you
models.
unplug and replug in the HDMI
Oh, did
cable
it?
there for us?
Yeah,
Let's see if we can get it to
technical difficulties.
Kelly hijacked
Oh, and then this didn't work either. Everything's not working. Okay. Okay. Right in the middle of my talk. Okay. So, like typically, the first thing people do, they get a 3D printer, they surf around on the internet and discover Thingiverse. And after a few hours of doom scrolling, you may not find that specific toothbrush holder that your wife would like you to print on the 3D printer. So, but there are a lot of cool ideas. What I recommend when people come to me and want to start maybe designing something on their own to 3D print is Tinkercad. This is an Autodesk product. I think it might have started, I think it was a Google thing, a Google app for a while, and then Autodesk bought it. But it has a great user community, and there are a lot of tutorials and things to help you get started. A lot of videos on how to do things with it. But this is like super low end. It's a web-based program, and I'll do a little bit of work with it later on here, but I want to just briefly introduce some other things. For you that are coders, this might interest you. OpenSCAD is completely script-based CAD program, which sounds like it could be impossible, but really it's pretty incredible what you can do with it. And I'll get into this one a little bit more too later. But yeah, there are functions in it for making squares and cylinders and spheres and all kinds of things, and you just merge stuff together and build an object. And then here's another open source option, FreeCAD, which I've worked with a little bit, and it is pretty powerful. You can do a lot of dimensional designs. You can also do parametric, where you can put in certain values in your object. Say you wanted to make a wheel with 5 spokes. Later on, maybe you want 8 spokes. You just change a number and it recalculates things. So, but I'll demonstrate some of that a little bit later too. It also has some like finite element simulation for measuring stresses and doing some crazy stuff. And then the last one I want to show you is it's my personal favorite, partly because I've been working with it for quite a long time. I worked with a company that had a lot of fairly intensive CAD work to do, and so over the years I got used to it. It does have a fairly steep learning curve, but it's a pretty powerful program. Not as big, say, as SolidWorks or CATIA or one of the giant, and also not as expensive either. There is a bit of a paywall here. There's a couple of different subscriptions you can do for different types of work and whatever. But so it's a little bit expensive, but it's powerful, but not as big as some of the, $30,000 subscriptions for some of these other programs. Yeah, I'm skipping my slide. Sorry, this is my first slide. Can you guys hear me in the back? Okay, awesome. All right, so right, here's some of the options, and we can post this slide deck thing for you guys to reference later, because there's several links in here that I'll get to. So okay, then like the next worst thing that happens to people who want to try to design their own work is just deciding on, oh, I want to use Fusion 360, and they just download it on their computer. They get like a 30-day free trial, and by the end of the 30 days, you're just completely mind-boggled and don't know where to go. So there are helpful links, and really several. And videos. I personally like the videos a lot because you can watch how the person actually works with the code. I know, that seems kind of cheap for a lot of people that say, no, you should read the documentation. There is good documentation on Tinkercad also. I don't know if I got a link to that though. Whoops, sorry. But so these guys will go through a lot of the basics. No, it's not gonna, on how to do things, and I'll jump into that for us now. Oh, I know what I was gonna say is there's a huge disconnect between design programs for, let's say, Pokemon action figures. These are kind of like really artistic modeling programs where you have kind of like a blob of material and you start pushing and pulling and creating the facial features and the, stuff. And I don't want to downplay that too much because I know that those like Blender have tremendous capabilities for also doing architectural things if you wanted to. And it's also open source-ish, is that correct?
Yeah.
So that's cool. To me, the learning curve can be really daunting. I'm definitely leaning on videos and stuff when I'm trying to work with Blender and create some characters and stuff. So Tinkercad, I again recommend as the go-to thing for people starting out. And I guess I'll click on one I did start with here. I'm gonna just like delete this stuff. So here's your slate, your building surface, and it's a plane. Oh, so unlike Blender and that sort of thing, generally CAD programs will strongly encourage you to start with a two-dimensional drawing of your object base. You know, you want to maybe make a rectangle. Oh, here, let me. Yeah, with a certain dimension or something, and then extrude the third dimension out of that. And I'll show you here as we go along how functional that is. But Tinkercad is not so much that way. It has these primitive elements, which are three-dimensional building blocks. You drag one over, and oh yes, as you begin to manipulate the thing, you see that you have some dimensions showing there, and you can actually go in and make that dimension a specific thing. If you're, say, trying to create an object that's going to mate with something else, or you only have a certain amount of space on your countertop or something like that. Oops. And then with the different little handles, you can manipulate it in different ways, and oops, even move it up off of the plane. You can then bring another object in, and you'll notice this one's kind of translucent, and drag it up through that object. And the way it works with Tinkercad, you have like two separate objects, and to create a rectangle with a hole in it, then you go up here to this little icon that says Union, and it will join those two things, and now we have a box with a hole in it. Yep. So if I wanted to make the box a hollow box, I would bring another box. Oh, I didn't know it would do that. Oh, and it's putting it on the surface. Wow. There have been some upgrades to this since I used it last. There, and again, I could put the actual dimensions in here that I want, but whoops, okay. And push that down into there, and now we have, join all this. Now we have an empty box with a hole in the bottom. So maybe this started to give you an idea how you can construct objects fairly simply and make a coat hook or a, or a toothbrush holder, rudimentary. Some people have created some really intricate things with Tinkercad, but there's some downsides to that, and I'll show you here in a second. Let me touch on OpenSCAD real quickly. Yeah, I'm eating up my time here. Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, I'll get to. So here we go. This is a script. This is the design file right there. And then this is a rendering of what that code creates. And you can go in and change parameters. Whoops, somewhere in here is the number of teeth. Yeah. and then just hit update, and you get more teeth. But of course, once you learn the code, then you can create your own things. And let me move on here to the FreeCAD one. So here's a sketch that I was playing with. I think I should. Oh. Basically, I'm going to add to what I have here. Oh. Oops. You have to decide what X, Y, or Z plane you want to start your sketch on. You can draw a box. And I guess I'll just do the same for the sake of time here. Yeah. And close that. And then tell it that you want to extrude this sketch. Where to go? Ah. And then oh, it disappeared. Sorry. Because I'm, over my time already. Sorry. Let me just touch on the, that went fast. Fusion, also, similarly, you start with a sketch. You have some sketch functions you can use. Oops. And then extrude those likewise. There's other more powerful functions with Fusion that are pretty cool. You click on this surface and hit shell, and now we have a shell of the shape that I extruded. Yep. I used Fusion 360 to make this little design here. I had a circuit board that had ESP 8266 from Espressive. Espressive came out with a really cool little library called ESP Now, which is a low latency protocol for talking between two elements. And so I used the little board and made this car. Oh yes, is that on camera?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. And then another board that it talks to is the controller. And I brought it to demonstrate. Yeah, it's going to work. Okay. So hopefully some of that is some inspiration for you to try designing your own objects. Sorry that I didn't get into a little bit more of the details of each thing, but yeah, short time.
Yeah. I'm going to do 5 minutes for questions real quick.
Oh, yes,
switch
okay.
over to Seth.
Be glad to take
I do want to
questions.
give you, so my first question is, if you can, just show how, if they wanted to export their model.
Oh, yes.
And move that over
right.
to the printer.
Yeah, so you design something and then you want specifically, generally, I think there's some other formats coming along, but STL is the file format that most 3D printers, I think I could say all 3D printers will take. All of these options that I showed you here will export the STL format of your three-dimensional object. Some of them like only export the whole project, and some you can like select which body you want to export, and it'll just print that one, which is what I did with this little robot thing. Yeah. Any other good question?
Good question. On the, you can precisely control the measurement that is touching in the numbers. Does that map to a specific like physical unit of measurement, or is it just kind of like a relative?
Oh, yes. So that's my problem with Blender, or I think there's a way around it, but I'd always like do something in Blender and like, I don't know what the actual size of things are. Right. No, all of these are that way. Like when we were in Tinkercad there, you could see that the numbers just show up in millimeters. Yeah, you can select inch or millimeter for most of the other programs. Yeah.
Do you have a preferred slicer, I guess, that you use?
Oh, yes. Well, I don't like to get into all that to myself. I use Cura. I guess that's right. I just let them take care of it. I mean, of course, you can tell it how much infill you want to do with the, yeah. So I touched on how to make the design of things. Do people have questions about how to use the slicer?
I don't know anything about slicing. I just know that there's two parts. So you model
Yeah.
it, and then
Usually when you go into the program that comes with your 3D printer or that you're using with your 3D printer will have some slicing algorithm in it, and you can tell it how thick you want the inside parts of your, so it's not solid plastic and you don't have to use up too much filament. And then like the wall thickness and the other stuff.
Is there ever a case where you would want to do some kind of manual splicing, or is it pretty much always a set
Oh,
parameters?
yeah. I mean, I've seen some people do some really cool magic with the thing that I think was really cool that somebody designed was when the extruder is feeding a line of filament, it would move out a little bit and just squirt some to make this little loop, and then go back and move on again. So the wall of your whatever it is has this hair. I think that's really cool. So yeah, there's things that can be done to get some neat effects. Yeah. Anybody else?
Well, if you do have more questions, you can post them in our Slack or go to the stream and post them there, and then we can follow up with some answers to those questions. Thanks again, Tom. Let's give him another round of applause.
Okay.
And then we'll have Seth come up and
Okay.
present about atproto.
Da-da-da. Oh, great. Is it, anybody inspired to design anything?
I'm inspired to buy a 3D printer.
Oh, yeah, you're cool. Okay. Oh, I was supposed to say, yeah, we have 3D printers here at Grover.
Oh, you want to?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to think about what I want to do.
Yeah. You know, that can be the hardest part.
I was testing on my work laptop earlier.
Can we pass around your little bot? Does he have a name?
Oh, yeah. A name for it? No. Oh, I'm going to do something went to sleep.
Yeah, that's okay.
Here we go. All right. Space over here.
You made this whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Start narrate. Okay. Is that too small? Is that? I'm trying to do the browser zoom and it's not. Here, I have an idea.
I'll make it work.
Brief intermission. Is that better? A little bit? About the same? Okay. There's not a lot of words, so. Okay, I'm gonna start talking. All right, so I'm here to talk about atproto. The name has been like going through changes. You'll also see it as atproto. The space around it's referred to as the atmosphere. AT stands for Authenticated Transfer Protocol. And yeah, I got into programming and development because of the internet. I thought it was just really awesome that anybody could make things and put them in a web browser, and the barrier to entry was so low. You could inspect the source on anything, and it was all just transparent, and there was very few gatekeepers. And then, yeah, big corporations came along and centralized all of it, and now it's really hard to build anything, and every business just has a Facebook page, and it's all terrible. So atproto has got me excited about the internet again, so I want to talk about it. So atproto comes from Blue Sky, and this is one of the things, like, it's cool, but it's also unfortunate because a lot of people do not care for, and maybe even hate, like Twitter-style social media, with good reason. I get it. So atproto is not specifically Blue Sky. Blue Sky is built on top of atproto, and that's like Blue Sky's core innovation. And they're actively working on, I'm jumping ahead many slides right now, but they're actively working on handing over control of atproto and everything around it to like the W3C and the IETF. So yeah, this is not just like Blue Sky's thing, but it did come from Blue Sky. So, but yeah, it's the least interesting part about all of this. There are many other things that run on atproto today. So yeah. Yeah, talked about this a little bit already. The internet hasn't exactly been getting better for a while. So we needed something like this to really, just refresh things and get the fun back. Big internet providers. So for a while, another cool thing about the internet was APIs. So you'd have a random website, a random web service, and then they would have an API which let you build something of your own powered by their data, which was really cool. Usually it was either the API was just open, you just sent requests to it from wherever, or at minimum you went and like got an API key and it was really easy. These days though, like Facebook is shutting down their API, you have to jump through all kinds of hoops if you want to use it. So again, walled gardens, they're closing everything down. They want everybody on their service, so it's terrible. I know this is a vulgar word, but yeah, there's this concept. It's also known as platform decay. I think if you look that up, you'll get the same result. But it's basically the process that we've gone through of, all these things were created, they were cool at first, and then once they kind of captured everybody, they just made it worse and worse for the actual users. So yeah. In shitification. Moving on. So how is atproto better? The whole core premise of atproto is about decentralization and interoperability. So what do those things mean? It's like everything is distributed and split up into layers. It's the opposite of centralized, where everything is owned by one company and happens inside of one like network boundary, organizational boundary, whatever. And then interoperability means we agree on the language, which is a protocol that these different things are going to communicate with, so it's easy for me to build my own thing that speaks atproto, and now it will work with and operate with all of these other atproto-powered things. So yeah, by having things built on top of this protocol, it enforces this like decentralization and interoperability. So yeah. A protocol is basically just an agreed upon language for computers, network devices, whatever, to communicate with so that they work together. HTTP is a protocol. You have HTTP servers, and then you have things like HTTP clients, which is like a web browser that knows how to interpret HTTP requests and render them into, all of that. So, all right, so getting into some of the more technical details here, I'm probably going to get some of this a little bit wrong, but the important thing is the concepts in general. So, yeah. I should have gone to here. I'm gonna go a little backwards here. So this is an example of the traditional internet. There's you, and then you connect to Facebook, and your data is inside Facebook. The algorithms that decide what you see are inside Facebook. The user experience, the app itself, all of that is controlled by Facebook, and you have no say in any of that. This, I know it's probably small, this is kind of how atproto is powered. And the whole point is that they split up everything into these 3 layers. Now, if you really look closer, it's like more than 3 layers. There's a bunch of little components, but this is how I think about it. So I think the most important one here is this data layer. It's called a PDS. It stands for a personal data server. This is where your data lives. You can host this yourself just for you. You can run one for other people. There's a whole bunch of different ones out there. Like Europe doesn't like American tech anymore, so there's Eurosky, and they run their own PDSs, so it's not in America. There's Black Sky, there's NPMX, there's Tangled. Like there's tons of different data servers out there that you can host your account on. And then there is the aggregation layer. So this is where the PDSs all send their data to these aggregators. And at that layer, you can have things like algorithms. How do we sort through this data? And how do we label the data for things like content moderation? All of that happens at this layer. And anybody can run one of these. So if you don't like the algorithm that's determining what you see on Blue Sky, you can go write your own feed and write your own algorithm, and it will sort it in a different way. The most popular, let's see, the most popular feed on Blue Sky is called the For You feed, and it's run by a guy just called, Space Cowboy 17. Just a random guy, and he's running this off of like a really beefy gaming machine in his house. And it's like the most popular algorithmic feed on Blue Sky, and everybody loves it. And if they stopped loving it, if it started not working well, somebody else could make a new one, and then you subscribe to that one instead. So, yeah. You see this kind of stuff all the time, where he's like, hey, this is going to be down for a couple hours. Yeah, this one right here. It's going to be down for a couple hours because I need to upgrade the RAM. So sorry, we'll be back soon. And like, I just love this. Like, this is how the internet was supposed to be, and it's happening again here. So yeah. So you've got the aggregation layer, and then you have the app view. This is the apps themselves, the web UI, the mobile app you download. And the cool thing is, because these 2 other layers are separate, if you don't like the Blue Sky UI, you don't like the Blue Sky app, but you still want to interact with all the Blue Sky content, you can build your own UI for it, and it all just works. And people have done that. There's a really cool one called Anasoda. It's very experimental, but it's Blue Sky data, and it's supposed to be like a calmer, more peaceful way of interacting with social media. And so it shows you like one post at a time, and there's all these little kind of games and experiences built into it. It's crazy. I don't really use it, but it's awesome that like, Blue Sky was like, yeah, go for it, do that. It's awesome. And the protocol is built in a way that like they couldn't stop them from doing this without just like taking all the data back and hiding it behind a server. But the data's already in everybody else's PDS, so yeah. So yeah, you've got the data layer. Aggregation, app view. I'm looking at my time and trying to decide what things to like really focus on. Okay, yeah. Cool. And yeah, like, feel free to hang out after and ask me questions. I can obviously ramble about this for a long time. there's a really cool community around atproto right now. People are building all kinds of stuff, including just like tooling. So this is a website called pdsls.dev. I think you can also get to it with pds.ls. But it's just a way of exploring data on PDSs. So I guess one thing to mention is like right now, all data on atproto is public. So it's all built around like public social media. So they are working on permissioned data so that you can have like private data that is selectively authorized for access by different apps and services or users. But that's an in-progress thing. So because it's all public, I can go to any profile. So this is the devICT account on atproto. One thing you'll notice is that handles are domains, which is kind of cool. I'll talk a little bit about that. But this is all of the data that is in the devICT atproto PDS. So like here's Blue Sky posts. I just posted this one on Blue Sky, and you can see the text here. We're live, first tech talks. It has an embed for an external link. Shows the created at timestamp, whatever. Yeah, you get it. But for all of these different things, you'll notice it's not just Blue Sky. Like there's also calendar events. So our events are posted as data in a PDS. So like you can see these on OpenMeet, but you can also see these on like the 2 or 3 other atproto powered event and meetup services that exist out there. And if we decide we don't like OpenMeet anymore, all of our event data stays. We don't, we can start using a different one and we don't lose anything. Yeah, so PDSLS is really cool. What else? Okay, so I'll talk a couple more technical details. Identity is structured. It's all based on actually a W3C spec called DIDS, D-I-D, a distributed. I don't know if it's distributed identifier or decentralized identifier. I think it's distributed, which means the slide is wrong. But these are so normally, in a traditional application, you have like a user record, and that record will have an ID, and that ID only means anything within that database. So that's a problem because that's very centralized. So the idea of a decentralized identifier means that like these IDs need to be globally unique for one, and also be managed by something that is outside of a single database. Now, this is where some people are like not thrilled right now because technically all of the IDs are managed by a central database, but it's separate from everything else, and Blue Sky is trying to hand over control of that to the IETF, and there's multiple people that are running mirrors of it. It's all public, so it's a trade-off. But yeah, a DID looks like this. This is the devICT one here. It's just a long string of numbers. You'll notice it's DID, PLC, and then a long ID. PLC is the type of DID that this is, which means this DID is managed by a service called plc.directory. And you can go to that website and yeah, look up things here. Copy the DID, paste it in here. Here is the DID document for devICT. So how all this works is when I log into any atproto powered service, the first thing it has to figure out is what is my DID, and it looks that up through DNS. So I want my handle to be, my website is seth.computer. I own that domain, and I have DNS records in there that point to my DID. And so it will look up the DNS records for seth.computer. It will see what the DID is. They will go to it'll see it's a PLC DID. It goes to this service and looks it up, and then sees that, oh, my atproto PDS is at devict.social. Spoiler, we have our own PDS. It's devict.social. You can make your account there if you want, and it's just running on a random DigitalOcean droplet, so it's kind of cool. But then it knows, now the service I'm authenticating with knows where to go and get my data to show in the app and write to it and everything. And then, it's all signed and encrypted, and you save the keys and everything. But yeah, there's another way you can have a DID, and it's it's just DNS, or I think it's did:/web, and that's purely just the domain. You don't have a unique string of numbers. It's just did web seth.computer, and then it just looks to that website to serve up the same JSON document that plc.directory would otherwise serve. Blue Sky decided not to make that the main way to do things, because if you just like forget to pay for a domain 1 year, now you lose your ID and all of your data and everything that's attached to it. So it's just not very resilient for the average person. But anyways, so DIDs. Handles, I talked about this already. So yeah, your handle is a domain name, so any domain you own. Normally when you sign up on a PDS, because that PDS is hosted at a domain, you'll get a handle that is your username .devict.social or bsky.social or whatever else. Yeah. The other really cool thing, I think where am I at on time?
1 more minute.
1 more minute, okay. Yeah. Lexicons, so data schemas. Like if you want to build an atproto-powered service, you define your data structures. What data is needed to use to like power this app? And those are published in the PDS that the service runs on. So even any like atproto-powered service needs to have its own domain and its own like ID and its data there. So like the lexicons for all of its schemas are stored there. So those are inherently public. There's no way for them to not be public. So you can go out and discover like, what does Blue Sky data look like? And then I can build my thing around that data. So yeah, I have aspirations to build a very simple like devICT atproto-powered app just to play around with this stuff. And those lexicons will be published on the devICT PDS. Some things looking ahead, I mentioned permission data, so they're working on that now. It's kind of their top priority. Governance, they're trying to hand over control of the protocol and its design and evolution and everything to standards bodies like the IETF and the W3C. There's a ton of services popping up right now, which is another reason it's so excited. You've got atproto-powered Git hosting, so like a GitHub or GitLab alternative. It's called Tangled. You've got a container registry, so something like Docker Hub, but it's all atproto-powered. Bookmarks, symbol and margin, that's supposed to be .at, not .ai. Web annotations, so yes.
On this subject, can you show OpenMeet and Streamplace real quick?
Yes.
Since those are 2 tools that we're using now.
Yes. OpenMeet is an interesting one. It is atproto-powered, but because atproto is still like a little bit fringe, they wanted people to be able to use OpenMeet if you didn't have an Atmosphere account as well, which is great. I think it's a good idea. But this is OpenMeet. This is what we moved to from Meetup because, Meetup went through enshittification, I guess. So, so yeah, we publish all of our events on here, and all of these events show up as records in our PDS. So there's also atmo.rsvp. Another similar thing. It works with the exact same data. So if I create an event on OpenMeet, I can see it on this website as well. And then there's like another one called smokesignal.events. Again, same thing. I can see all the same events across all 3 of these. And whichever one I like the best, I can choose to use that one. There's also Streamplace. So this is like Twitch. People are streaming. Sometimes there's, it's the internet. So just,
Oh, there's us right there.
And there's us right there. We are streaming on Streamplace. So you can go to, we'll do some streamception here. Yeah. So,
Do the wave.
Yep. So sorry, you were on the internet. So that's another thing. There's one of the ones that's really cool.
I'm going to stop you there.
Yes.
So we have time for questions.
Okay.
And then we can dig into those topics if someone wants to dig in a little more.
Okay, I'm going to finish with this one. This is my very last thing. So all the interoperability stuff, like that's great, but like Blue Sky still, all of their lexicons are still like com.bluesky.post and whatever. So it's still very like Blue Sky centric. But for like the calendar events, those ones are not app specific, and so they work across a bunch of different services. One that has really grown recently is called standard.site, and this is just a way of describing website data and like blog data and being able to interact with it across a lot of different services. There are multiple atproto-powered blogging services. There's leaflet.pub, pact.blog, offprint.app. I think there's at least 2 or 3 other ones, but those are the big ones. And they all publish the records that you create on there as standard.site records in your PDS. So if you want to move to another one, you can, and none of your content goes away. If you want to build your own website by hand and build a thing that publishes the standard.site records to your PDS just on your own, you can do that. And those records that data will show up in all these other services, which enables things like Standard Reader and SkyReader.app, which just aggregate standard.site records from anywhere that they're created and let you browse them and discover them and all of that stuff. So yeah, that was the last one.
All right, let's give him a round of applause. Any questions? We have a few minutes for questions.
How can we sign up on the devICT PDS?
I'm glad you asked. devict.social is the domain. Go to /account, and that will give you a login or sign-up screen. Because this is a devICT thing, it doesn't have just open sign-ups. I didn't want to just open it to the floodgates of the internet, so you do have to have an invite code. Just ask me, and I'll send you one. I want to set up a thing to like make it easy to provision invite codes from
Better
Slack.
yet,
So.
go to devict.org, join the Slack, and then
Yes.
send an invite through there.
Yes, if you're not already in Slack, join Slack, and then ask me, send me a message in Slack, and I will give you an invite code. You can also create your account anywhere else too. Like there's tons of other options, but yeah.
I have a question.
You've already made your account somewhere else, you can move it to devICT.
Yes. Yeah, there's this cool, just random guy that made this excellent service called PDS Mover. When I stood up the devICT PDS, I moved the devICT account and my personal account to it using this, and it took like 10 minutes total. It was amazing.
So about like the availability of the data on a PDS, is it you're basically saying wherever I'm choosing to store my data, I'm gonna have to trust wherever that is, that like one day it's not just gonna go offline and suddenly all the data's lost. But at the end of the day, you can boil it down to, if I really am not willing to trust anyone, I can just host it myself. Is that kind of the...
That's true. There's also backups. Like you can, it's really easy. It's just a bunch of JSON data. So you can also use backup services, write a backup service yourself. So yeah, there's, even if you don't trust the PDS you're on, it's very simple to make sure you don't lose all of that. So.
Plus it's...
You don't trust devICT, right?
I mean, it's fair.
As opposed to like Facebook, where everything is in one place. So when Facebook goes down,
Right.
for one, they already have control of your data.
Right.
Two, when they go down, you can't access it anyways. So.
Yep, exactly.
Is there like a registry or catalog of atproto powered services?
That's a really good question.
Or like a definitive, semi-definitive one?
I don't think there's any definitive one necessarily. I think what you could do, I bet there's something on the atproto site. So atproto.com, they've got really good docs that just go way deeper into the technical stuff if you're interested. So like, because it's all split into pieces, I don't think that there's a definitive list of every like app view service that works on atproto. But what you could do is, I can't remember the domain right now. There's some tools that allow you to, the fire hose is basically all of the atproto data flowing through the entire network. And there's people that run different copies of these. And then there's services where you can filter all the data from the fire hose to whatever you want. It comes from a certain account. It's only these types of records. So you could probably look at all of the data on the network that defines schemas and discover some things from there. So yeah. But I bet atproto.com probably has something. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have one more question.
Yeah.
As far as you mentioned, they're trying to add like a privacy or a permissions layer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what layer that would fall at? And when it comes to authentication, I'm assuming that's at the app view layer right now. I'm guessing, is that kind of what they're looking at doing, or adding like authorization on top of the authentication, or in addition to the authentication layer?
Yes, yes. So it's the auth is all built on top of OAuth. The authentication happens between the app view and your PDS. Your PDS is your identity provider. Like, that's where your account lives, that's where your keys live. So when an app view, when you're logging into a service, I can actually show this. Oh yeah, Minnesota. Well, hang on. Do this. It might be logged in. I'm not logged in, great. This is Tangled. So when I click login, I'm gonna skip that part. I'm gonna type in my handle. Behind the scenes, it's gonna figure out where is my data hosted? Where is my PDS that it needs to go authorize with? I'll hit login. And now you'll notice I'm on devict.social because that's where my data lives. That's where my account is at. It's like login with Google or login with whatever. It's the same thing. It's all OAuth. And then I log in here with my account. It says like, hey, Tangled wants to log in with your account, and these are the things it wants to do. And I can look and see specifically what data in my PDS I'm giving it permission to work with. What can it read? Or I guess everything's public, so it can read everything. But what can it create, update, and delete? And it's only Tangled related stuff. So you can get, this is called an OAuth bundle. So for permissioned data, it's going to be a very similar thing where the data lives in your PDS, and you log into a service and it asks to have access to a certain, what they're calling it is a space. So a space is like a boundary around some set of data that may just be yours. It may be like a community's, think like a subreddit or something that might be private. So yeah, I could probably get into more details, but in general, it's for what layer it happens at, it's the app view and the PDS layer.
Any other questions? We're stopping right on time.
I also plan to hang out afterwards, so if anyone wants to, ask after too. That's great.
All right, let's hear for Seth. On that note, I think there's still pizza back there and drinks and cookies, so feel free to grab some. If you want to check out the robot, it's up here somewhere. Or back there somewhere. Oh, okay, back there. Check out the robot. Feel free to come ask Tom and Seth's questions. And yeah, thanks again for coming.
Cheers for Corey.
Yeah.